Beersheba, Levantine pronunciation, is the largest city in the Negev desert of southern Israel, often referred to as the capital of the Negev. It is the center of the fourth most populous metropolitan area in Israel, the eighth most populous city in Israel with a population of 201,086, and the second largest city with a total of 117,500 dunams. Beersheba grew in importance in the 19th century, when the Ottoman Turks built a regional police station there. The Battle of Beersheba was part of a wider British offensive in World War I aimed at breaking the Turkish defensive line from Gaza to Beersheba. In 1947, Beersheba, as it was known, was envisioned as part of the Arab state in the United Nations partition plan for Palestine. Following the declaration of Israel's independence, the Egyptian army amassed its forces in Beersheba as a strategic and logistical base. In the Battle of Beersheba waged in October 1948, it was conquered by the Israel Defense Forces. Beersheba has grown considerably since then. A large portion of the population is made up of the descendants of Sephardi Jews and Mizrahi Jews who immigrated from Arab countries after 1948, as well as smaller communities of Bnei Israel and Kochi Jews from India. Second and third waves of immigration have taken place since 1990, bringing Ashkenazi Jewish immigrants from the former Soviet Union, as well as Beta Israel immigrants from Ethiopia. The Soviet immigrants have made the game of chess a major sport in Beersheba. The city is now Israel's national chess center, with more chess grandmasters per capita than any other city in the world. Etymology. There are several etymologies for the origin of the name Beersheba. The oath of Abraham and Abimelech is the one stated in Gen. 21:31. Others include the 7 wells dug by Isaac, though only 3 or 4 have been identified. The oath of Isaac and Abimelech, the 7 lambs that sealed Abraham and Abimelech's oath. Beer is the Hebrew word for well. Shiva could mean 7 or oath. In this case the meaning is probably oath, as the ancient Hebrews believed 7 to be a lucky number, and the Hebrew shvua literally means to seven oneself. The Arabic toponym can also be translated as 7 wells. Hebrew Bible. Beersheba is mainly dealt with in the Hebrew Bible in connection with the patriarchs Abraham and Isaac, who both dig a well and close peace treaties with King Abimelech of Gerar at the site. Hence it receives its name twice, first after Abraham's dealings with Abimelech, and again from Isaac, who closes his own covenant with Abimelech of Gerar and whose servants also dig a well there. The place is thus connected to 2 of the 3 wife-sister narratives in the book of Genesis. According to the Hebrew Bible, Beersheba was founded when Abraham and Abimelech settled their differences over a well of water and made a covenant. Abimelech's men had taken the well from Abraham after he had previously dug it, so Abraham brought sheep and cattle to Abimelech to get the well back. He set aside 7 lambs to swear that it was he that had dug the well and no one else. Abimelech conceded that the well belonged to Abraham, and, in the Bible, Beersheba means well of 7 or well of the oath. Beersheba is further mentioned in following Bible passages. Isaac built an altar in Beersheba. Jacob had his dream about a stairway to heaven after leaving Beersheba. Beersheba was the territory of the tribe of Simeon and Judah. The sons of the prophet Samuel were judges in Beersheba. Saul, Israel's first king, built a fort there for his campaign against the Amalekites. The prophet Elijah took refuge in Beersheba when Jezebel ordered him killed. The prophet Amos mentions the city in regard to idolatry. Following the Babylonian conquest and subsequent enslavement of many Israelites, the town was abandoned. After the Israelite slaves returned from Babylon, they resettled the town. According to the Hebrew Bible, Beersheba was the southernmost city of the territories settled by Israelites. Hence the expression, from Dan to Beersheba, to describe the whole kingdom. Zibiah, the consort of King Ahaziah of Judah, and the mother of King Jehoash of Judah, was from Beersheba. History. Antiquity. Human settlement in the area dates from the Copper Age. The inhabitants lived in caves, crafting metal tools and raising cattle. Findings unearthed at Beersheba, an archaeological site east of modern-day Beersheba, suggest the region has been inhabited since the 4th millennium BC. The city has been destroyed and rebuilt many times over the centuries. Israelite era Tel Beersheba, an archaeological site containing the ruins of an ancient town believed to have been the biblical Beersheba, lies a few kilometers east of the modern city. The town dates to the early Israelite period, around the 10th century BCE. The site was probably chosen due to the abundance of water, as evidenced by the numerous wells in the area. According to the Bible, the wells were dug by Abraham and Isaac when they arrived there. The streets were laid out in a grid, with separate areas for administrative, commercial, military, and residential use. It is believed to have been the first planned settlement in the region, and is also noteworthy for its elaborate water system, in particular, a huge cistern carved out of the rock beneath the town. Persian era. During the Persian rule 539 BCE, 332 BCE, Beersheba was at the south of Yehud Medinata, autonomous province of the Persian Achaemenid Empire. During that era the city was rebuilt and a citadel had been built. Archaeological finds from between 359 and 338 BCE have been made and include pottery and ostragon. Hasmonean era. During the Hasmonean rule, the city did not take importance as it was not mentioned when conquered from the Edom described in the Hasmonean Wars. Roman and Byzantine era. During the Roman the city was in Coal Syria region. During the Roman era and later Byzantine periods, the town served as a frontline defense against Nabatean attacks. The last inhabitants of Tel Beersheba were the Byzantines, who abandoned the city during the Muslim conquest of the Levant. Around 64-63 BC, Pompeius Magnus made Beersheba the southern part of the Judea province. In the following years the city was on the Limes Belt. Estimated on year 268, the city becomes center of the epoch. Beersheba, described in the Madaba map, and Eusebius' area described the city during the 4th century as a large village with a Roman garrison. Circa 632 during the Muslim conquest. Although the city had been destroyed and was abandoned up to the 19th century, some pottery from late Byzantine and early Islamic rule had been found in the city. Ottoman era. The Ottomans, who had controlled the area, set Beersheba in the Damascus Islet since the 16th century, took an interest in Beersheba in the late 19th century. The Ottoman operated a quarry between 1900 and 1917 in the Gaza Beersheba Canyon. The quarry is 25 meter in depth, 200 meter wide, and is 30 dunam in size, and provided the stone needed for the city's construction. Negev Bedouin. In 1982, Joseph Ben David of the J. Blaustein Institute for Desert Research and Gideon M. Kressel of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev undertook research on the importance of the market in the Negev Bedouin economy. Ben David and Kressel argued that the Bedouin traditional market was the cornerstone for the founding of Beersheba as capital of the Negev during the Ottoman period. A Negev Bedouin, Aref Abu Rabia, who earned his PhD in anthropology and went on to become the official in charge of education in the Negev district of the Israeli Ministry of Education and Culture, published his book entitled A Bedouin Century, in which he called Beersheba the first Bedouin city. The Ottomans built roads and a number of small buildings from local materials which are still standing today. A town plan, created by Swiss and German architects, called for a grid street pattern, which can be seen today in Beersheba's old city. All houses built during that period were of one story, and the two-story police station towered above them. Most of the residents at the time were Arabs from Hebron and the Gaza area, although Jews also began settling in the city. Many Bedouin abandoned their nomadic lives and built homes in Beersheba. During World War I, the Ottomans built a military railroad from the Hejaz line to Beersheba, inaugurating the station on October 30, 1915. The celebration was attended by the Ottoman army commander Jamal Pasha and other senior government officials. The train line was active until the British Army forced the Ottomans out in 1917. Towards the end of the war, Jewish 1917 mass grave. The mass grave is significant as it was the first Jewish cemetery in Beersheba. Prior to the erection of the cemetery, Jewish people who died in Beersheba had been buried in Hebron. Following an aerial bombing by the Royal Air Force's 67 Squadron on the Ottoman Railroad on 15 January 1917, a mass grave for the Jewish victims had been erected. The victims had been two Jewish groups, one from Jerusalem and another from Jaffa, who had been stranded for 10 days at the location following the 1916-1917 flood which damaged the railroad. One bomb hit a carriage where 11 of the men had been sitting and 5 more died the same day and 4 wounded survived. At first the mass grave had 16 corpses, but families of the Jerusalem group were able to move the corpses to a Jerusalem burial site. The burial was done in 2 rows. A bottle with a name had been put near each body and a small stone with the description had been put above ground. The mass grave later became the first Jewish cemetery in Beersheba. Following repeated desecration, the tombstones has been replaced by a single reinforced concrete headstone in 1946, which was also destroyed. British Mandate-era Beersheba played an important role in the Sinai and Palestine campaign in World War I. On October 31, 1917, 3 months after taking Rafah, General Allenby's troops breached the line of Turkish defense between Gaza and Beersheba. 800 soldiers of the Australian 4th and 12th Regiments of the 4th Light Horse under Brigadier General William Grant, with only horses and bayonets, charged the Turkish trenches, overran them and captured the wells in what has become known as the Battle of Beersheba, called the last successful cavalry charge in British military history. On the edge of Beersheba's old city is a Commonwealth War Graves Commission cemetery containing the graves of Australian and British soldiers. The town also contains a memorial park dedicated to them. During the Palestine Mandate, Beersheba was a major administrative center. The British constructed a railway between Rafah and Beersheba in October 1917. It opened to the public in May 1918, serving the Negev and settlement south of Mount Hebron. In 1928, at the beginning of the tension between the Jews and the Arabs over control of Palestine, and wide-scale rioting which left 133 Jews dead and 339 wounded. Many Jews abandoned Beersheba, although some returned occasionally. After an Arab attack on a Jewish bus in 1936, which escalated into the 1936–39 Arab revolt in Palestine, the remaining Jews left. At the time of the 1922 census of Palestine, Beersheba had a population of 2,012 Muslims, 235 Christians, 98 Jews and 11 Druze. At the time of the 1931 census, Beersheba had 545 occupied houses and a population of 2,791 Muslims, 152 Christians, 11 Jews and 5 Baha'i. The 1945 village survey conducted by the Palestine Mandate government found 5,360 Muslims, 200 Christians and 10 others. State of Israel in 1947. The United Nations Special Committee on Palestine proposed that Beersheba be included within the Jewish state in the partition plan for Palestine. However, when the UN's ad hoc committee revised the plan, they moved Beersheba to the Arab state on account of it being primarily Arab. During the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, when military intelligence intercepted a telegram from Egyptian officers about plans to redeploy along the Beersheba-Gaza line, Yigal Allon proposed the conquest of Beersheba, which was approved by Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion. According to Israeli historian Benny Morris, he ordered the conquest of Beersheba, occupation of outposts around it, demolition of most of the town. The objective was to break the Egyptian blockade of Israeli convoys to the Negev. The Egyptian army did not expect an offensive and fled en masse. At 4 a.m. on October 21, the 8th Brigade's 89th Battalion and the Negev Brigade's 7th and 9th Battalions moved in. Some troops advancing from Ishmar Negev Junction, 20 kilometers north of Beersheba, others from the Turkish train station and Hatzor. By 9:45, Beersheba was in Israeli hands. Around 120 Egyptian soldiers were taken prisoner. The remaining Arab civilians, 200 men and 150 women and children, were taken to the police fort. On October 25, the women, children, disabled and elderly were driven by truck to the Gaza border. The Egyptian soldiers were interned in POW camps. Some men lived in the local mosque and were put to work cleaning, but when it was discovered that they were supplying information to the Egyptian army, they were also deported. Following Operation Yoav, a 10-kilometer radius exclusion zone around Beersheba was enforced, into which no Bedouin were allowed. Beersheba was deemed strategically important due to its location with a reliable water supply and at a major crossroads, northwest to Hebron and Jerusalem, east to the Dead Sea in Al-Kari, south to Aqaba, west to Gaza and southwest to Al-Ayr and the border with Egypt. After a few months, the town's war-damaged houses were repaired. As a post-independence wave of Jewish immigration to Israel began, Beersheba experienced a population boom as thousands of immigrants moved in. The city rapidly expanded beyond its core, which became known as the Old City, as new neighborhoods were built around it, complete with various housing projects such as apartment buildings and houses with auxiliary farms, as well as shopping centers and schools. The Old City was turned into a city center, with shops, restaurants, and government and utility offices. An industrial area and one of the largest cinemas in Israel were also built in the city. By 1956, Beersheba was a booming city of 22,000. By 1968, its population had grown to 80,000. Soroka Hospital opened its doors in 1960, and the University of the Negev, which would later become Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, was established in 1969. The then Egyptian President Anwar Sadat visited Beersheba in 1979. Urban development as part of its Blueprint Negev project. The Jewish National Fund is funding major redevelopment projects in Beersheba. One project is the Beersheba Riverwalk, a 900-acre riverfront district with green spaces, hiking trails, a 3,000-seat sports hall, a 15-acre boating lake filled with recycled wastewater, promenades, restaurants, cafes, galleries, boat rentals, a 12,000-seat amphitheater, playgrounds, and a bridge along the route of the city's mega road water pipes. The plans include building new homes overlooking the park and neighborhood. At the official entrance to the river park will be the Beit Eshel Park, which will consist of a park built around a courtyard with historic remains from the settlement of Beit Eshel. 4 new shopping malls are planned. The first, Canyon Beersheba, will be a 115,000 square meter ecologically planned mall with pools for collecting rainwater and lighting generated by solar panels on the roof. It will be situated next to an 8,000-meter park with bicycle paths. Another mall will be a farmers' market, the first ever in Israel. It will be an enclosed, circular complex with 400 spaces for vendors, and it will be surrounded by parks and greenery. A new central bus station has been built in the city. The station has a glass-enclosed complex also containing shops and cafes. In recent years, some $10.5 million has been invested in renovating Beersheba's old city, preserving historical buildings and upgrading infrastructure. The Turkish quarter is also being redeveloped with newly cobbled streets, widened sidewalks, and the restoration of Turkish homes into areas for dining and shopping. In 2011, City Hall announced plans to turn Beersheba into the Water City of Israel. One of the projects, Beersheba Beach, envisions a 7-dunam facility opposite City Hall. Other projects include new fountains near the Soroka Medical Center and in front of the Shamoun College of Engineering. In the 1990s, as skyscrapers began to appear in Israel, the construction of high-rise buildings began in Beersheba. Today, downtown Beersheba has been described as a clean, compact, and somewhat sterile-looking collection of high-rise office and residential towers. The city's tallest building is Rambam Square 2, a 32-story apartment building. Many additional high-rise buildings are planned or are under construction, including skyscrapers. There are further plans to build luxury residential towers in the city. The city is undergoing a major construction boom, which includes both development of urban design elements, such as water fountains and bridges, and environmental development such as playgrounds and parks. In December 2012, a plan to build 16,000 new housing units in the remote Gimel neighborhood was scrapped in favor of creating a new urban forest, which will span 1,360 acres and serve as the area's green lung. As part of the plans to develop a green band around the city, the forest will include designated picnic areas, biking trails, and walking trails. According to Mayor Ruvik Danilovich, Beersheba still has an abundance of open, underdeveloped spaces that can be used for urban development. Arab-Israeli conflict. On August 31, 2004, 16 people were killed in 2 suicide bombings on commuter buses in Beersheba, for which Hamas claimed responsibility. On August 28, 2005, another suicide bomber attacked the central bus station, seriously injuring 2 security guards and 45 bystanders. During Operation Cast Lead, which began on December 27, 2008 and lasted until the ceasefire on January 18, 2009. Hamas fired 2,378 rockets and mortars from Gaza into southern Israel, including Beersheba. The rocket attacks have continued, but have been only partially effective since the introduction of the Iron Dome rocket defense system. In 2010, an Arab attacked and injured 2 persons with an axe. In 2012, a Palestinian from Jenin had been stopped before a stabbing attack in a safe house. Geography. Beersheba is located on the northern edge of the Negev desert, 115 kilometers southeast of Tel Aviv and 120 kilometers southwest of Jerusalem. The city is located on the main route from the center and north of the country to Eilat in the far south. The Beersheba Valley has been populated for thousands of years, as it has available water, which flows from the Hebron Hills in the winter and is stored underground in vast quantities. The main river in Beersheba is Nafil Beersheva, a wadi that floods in the winter. The Kovshim and Kataf streams are other important wadis that pass through the city. Beersheba is surrounded by a number of satellite towns, including Omer, Levantine, and Meta, and the Bedouin localities of Rahat, Tel Asabi, and Lakia. Just northwest of the city is a region called Goral Hills. The area have hills with up to 500 meter above sea level and low as 300 above sea level. Due to heavy construction, the flora unique to the area is endangered. Northeast of the city there are lowest plains and dry riverbands. Climate. Beersheba has a hot semi-arid climate with Mediterranean influences. The city has both characteristics of Mediterranean and desert climates. Summers are hot and dry, and winters are mild. Rainfall is highly concentrated in the winter season, even more so than other cities with a similar climate such as Almeria in southern Spain. In summer, the temperatures are high in daytime and nighttime, with an average high of 32.3 degrees Celsius and an average low of 19.9 degrees Celsius. Winters have an average high of 17.7 degrees Celsius and average low of 8 degrees Celsius. Snow is very rare. A snowfall on February 20, 2015 was the first such occurrence in the city since 1992. Precipitation in summer is rare. The most rainfalls come in winter between September to May, but the annual amount is low, averaging 204.1 millimeters per year. Sandstorms, haze and fog are common, especially in winter, as a result of the high humidity. Demography. Beersheba is one of the fastest-growing cities in Israel. Though it has a population of about 200,000, the city is larger in size than Tel Aviv, and its urban plan calls for a population of 450,000–500,000. In 2010, the National Council for Planning and Construction approved a master plan with the goal of increasing the population of Beersheba and its metropolitan area to 1 million by 2020. Beersheba's 20,000 Arabs represent about 10% of the population. Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics divides the Beersheba metropolitan area into 2 areas. Notes 1. The population of Jews and others, INCL, Jews, non-Arab Christians and those not classified by religion. 2 includes the city of Beersheba. 3 includes the cities Rahat and Ofakim, the local councils Letavim, Omer and Tel Shiva, as well as many smaller towns. Economy. The largest employers in Beersheba are the municipality, Israel Defense Forces, Ben-Gurion University, and the Soroka Medical Center. A major Israel aerospace industries complex is located in the main industrial zone, north of Highway 60. Numerous electronics and chemical plants, including Teva Pharmaceutical Industries, are located in and around the city. Beersheba is emerging as a high-tech center, with an emphasis on cybersecurity. A large high-tech park is being built near the Beersheba North Railway Station. Deutsche Telekom, Elbit Systems, EMC, Lockheed Martin, Nest Technologies, and RAT Data Communications have already opened facilities there, as has a cyber incubator run by Jerusalem Venture Partners, a science park funded by the Rashi SACTA Foundation. Beersheba Municipality and private donors was completed in 2008. Another high-tech park is located north of the city in Neroma. An additional 3 industrial zones are located on the southeastern side of the city: Maktashim, Amexara and Kiryat Yehudat, and a light industry zone between Kiryat Yehudat and the Old City. Local government. The Beersheba municipality was plagued for many years by an ineffectual leadership, political problems and poor financial planning. Since 2005, attention has been focused on developing parks and infrastructure. A new youth center opened in 2005, and a new cultural center opened in 2008. In 2006, after many years of financial struggle, the municipality has achieved a balanced budget. The official emblem of the municipality of Beersheba depicts an eshel, the tree planted by Abraham according to Genesis, and the observation tower connected to the municipality building. The mayor of Beersheba is Ruvik Danilovich, who was deputy mayor under Yaakov Turner. Educational institutions. According to CBS, Beersheba has 81 schools and a student population of 33,623 to 60 elementary schools with an enrollment of 17,211, and 39 high schools with an enrollment of 16,412. Of Beersheba's 12th graders, 52.7% earned a Bagrut matriculation certificate in 2001. The city also has several private schools and yeshivot that cater to the religious sector. Beersheba is home to one of Israel's major universities, Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, located on an urban campus in the city. Other schools in Beersheba are the Open University of Israel, Sami Shamoun Academic College of Engineering, KA Academic College of Education, Practical Engineering College of Beersheba, and a campus of the Israeli Air and Space College.